Today we're recapping my top 5 moments from Guatemala in 2025. So let's get started. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Ian. I'm known as WanderBeard around these parts. And in today's video, we're in part 2 of my top 10 from Guatemala in 2025. So just to quickly recap, I spent 2 months in Guatemala in 2025 and I made over 20 videos from the country. I stopped in 15 different towns and cities across Guatemala over that time and had an amazing time throughout the entire country. So in this series, we're recapping my best moments from 2025 in the various countries that I visited. Guatemala, I was there for so long, I decided to break it out into 2 parts, so it's a top 10. So if you haven't seen my first video from Guatemala yet, which you can watch right here, please check that out because that goes through the first 5 entries in my top 10 list. I'm really excited to show you the other 5 today because these were all so amazing to experience. So just to recap, in 2025, I visited 7 countries in total. We've already discussed Mexico and Belize. Today we're finishing up with Guatemala. And then of course, we also went to El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Costa Rica. If you're new to my channel, or if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button down below the video so that I can add you to my wonderful list of subscribers on my channel. Every one of you are important to me, and it really means a lot when people subscribe and leave comments below to just let me know that you were here. I love it. I read them all. I try to respond to as many as I possibly can. So let's get started with spot number 5 on my list of top moments from Guatemala in 2025. So in the number 5 spot, I have the Mirador look-off in Quetzaltenango, or Xela as it's known locally. So this hike up to the Mirador became quite the challenge. I was expecting to be a fairly leisurely walk, but what it ended up being was something else altogether entirely more exciting. It was a wonderful walk up through the forest, up the mountain to a look-off point where you could see the entire city unfold in front of you. It was a wonderful place to check out. It wasn't that busy at all, and I had an amazing time getting up there and seeing the entire city. Let's take a look at a few of the clips from my hike up to the Mirador in Quetzaltenango. It is about 45 minutes to an hour hike up. Should be a little easier getting back down, but anyway, I'm just heading over from my accommodations. Perfect day for it, no clouds. There's been a volcanic eruption, Volcano Fuego, not too far from Guatemala City. And because of the way the wind has gone, it blew some of the dust and ash and haze over this way. I know it's always hard to show how steep something is, but this is pretty steep. So I would say I'm about halfway to the top at the moment. Here's a shot of the city of Xela from up here on the hill. You can see all the way around. You know, I'm at almost 2,400 meters elevation at the moment, and just taking my time, and so far so good. What a beautiful view from up here though. Well, in case I didn't feel old and out of shape enough, this guy's doing it on a bike. Whew. So I thought I would just give a quick update. I'm about somewhere between halfway and 2/3 of the way up, I would say. Most of the elevation is done. I'm currently at 2,472 meters. So I just took a little break there to get some water into me and question my life choices. The views up here of the city though are unbelievable. Now it's worth noting that if you're not insane like me, I think you can actually drive all the way to the top or hire an Uber to take you all the way to the top. But then you wouldn't be insane like me. Well, after an hour and 45 minutes or so of hiking up the hill, I would say that this was worth it. Yeah, this was definitely worth the sweat and the tears and the questioning of my sanity. Beautiful spot up here. Just a great little park. As the saying goes, why be boring and drive up when you can walk up the hill and question your life? Just an amazing view of the city. I wish it wasn't quite so hazy at the moment, because earlier I could certainly see, all the way across. But as the day has gotten warmer, of course, more haze has rolled in. But this is Xela here in the Western Highlands of Guatemala. And I thought this would be no better place to end my video in the Western Highlands. And then doing this hike up here to the summit at the Mirador to get this view was certainly worth it. And it's a fine place to end this part of my exploration here in Guatemala. In the number 4 position, we have Hobbitenango. So if that name sounds a little strange to you at first, that's because this place was entirely both bizarre and magical at the same time. Guatemala hosts an adventure park based on the stories of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. They have an entire park that's designed to look very familiar, some fun activities, different things like that. I had a magical time there. I really wasn't expecting a whole lot. I figured it'd be kind of kitschy and kind of tacky, but it ended up being a wonderful time. So let's have a look at Hobbitenango, my entry number 4 on my top 10 things from Guatemala in 2025. I first found this place when I started planning my trip through Guatemala about 2 years ago now. And this was actually the first place that I marked off in Guatemala where I said I need to see that. We are about 2,400 meters above sea level up here, and quite the remarkable view. So you've got the Volcan de Agua, and there's some more of the volcanoes and mountains, and just a remarkable view up here. So at the very top of the hill here, they have a giant swing that you can go up on. Big lineup for it at the top. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Some very cool walking trails through here. We're going to go down and take a look at a couple of the Hobbit houses in a little bit. There was a guy dressed up as Gandalf just over by that big swing. It's a cool spot. It's like nothing you would see in most other places. Definitely worth your time. If you're in Antigua, definitely come here and check it out because this place is cool. It's already cool and I haven't done anything yet. There's also an all-you-can-eat buffet, and I'm really looking forward to that too. So let's continue our way through here. So you get lots of vendors down here to the right. There's a Hobbit house there. That you can actually rent those and stay in them overnight. I'd actually looked at it, but I think it's like $200 or $300 for a night. But they have all kinds of other cool stuff. There's an archery range just down here, down the hill. The big swing, of course. Lots of seating areas. There's a restaurant up here. The buffet is just down below me. So I got some pork with vegetables and potatoes, some rice, some stewed chicken, and some macaroni salad, and a horchata to drink. And I have a friend who's pretending not to look at me in hopes that I give him something. Just having a look here. This is one of the sort of model type homes they've got set up. It's closed at the moment. Oh yeah, this is better. So you can see they've done a pretty nice job here with the decor and just kind of, making it look fairly authentic, all things considered. It was a pretty cool experience overall, just to kind of wander around and, you know, check it all out. Nice place to come because it's so high up. You get a nice cool breeze here all day too, which is nice. In the number 3 spot for Guatemala, I have visiting the deity of Maximón. So Maximón is a bit of a strange character, a bit of a unique thing to that part of Guatemala near Lake Atitlan, but it was a fascinating background, a fascinating story, and a really cool experience to kind of check it out. So while I was in Lake Atitlan, I had an opportunity to stay at several towns around the lake. While my time there was incredible, one of the most unique situations was Maximón in Santiago Atitlan. Maximón is a local deity that is revered by the local people. There's a long history there with the character and its origins. And each year, a different home is selected within the city to protect the idol, to show it off to worshipers, to travelers, and to others. And so it was a really kind of one of those special moments that I had while traveling that a lot of people aren't even familiar with, and to me was a really cool moment. So let's have a look at some of the clips from visiting Maximón in Santiago Atitlan. We're gonna make our way down through the market here, and as you can see, it's very busy on Fridays. Everybody is out. I was down here yesterday just kind of wandering around, and it was nowhere near this busy. So Fridays are definitely the day to come if you want to see what the market life is like here in Santiago. It is crowded. It kind of goes in every direction, so it keeps going that way quite a ways. We're going to head down this way, down the hill, because this is down towards where I believe Maximón is located. A little bit of everything, as you can see, here at the market. It's a great spot to come, though, if you're looking for, you know, things to buy. If you need to pick up supplies while you're traveling, or, you know, food, if you're going to do some cooking while you're here. So I've been told the Maximón deity is just right down this little alleyway. Let's go see if they were right. Well, I found the place. I'm just waiting for a minute because there's some people inside with the deity at the moment, so I want to wait for them to finish. But this is where it is. It's just located inside this little greenhouse. I'm going to speak real quiet because we're inside here and there's people praying, but I just wanted to come in and show you what it looks like on the inside here. I swear, I fortune, I means, I plan, I am our patron Santiago. Santiago Halis, Alquicota Cajola of the Quad. Manens Hilary, Takha Shuteka, 3, 4 o 5 puertas la ik. Well, that was really cool and very sort of moving in a way, I think. You've got this religious deity that is unique to this area and revered by the majority of the people in the city. And you get one family every year who is assigned to take care of it, basically. In the number 2 position, we have the historical center of Antigua, Guatemala. Now, Antigua is a very touristy location in Guatemala. There were thousands of tourists in the city when I was there, but even after all of that, it still holds up as a really special place in the entire country. Antigua is full of historical buildings and views and moments. Antigua is surrounded by volcanoes, some of which go off on a fairly regular basis. So no matter where you look or where you go, there's always something amazing to see in Antigua. Let's have a look at a few of the clips from my time in Antigua. I did a full city tour when I was there. I encourage you to check out the full video. So we're just heading down the road here. We're gonna head out to our first stop of the day. And yeah, let's go check it out. There's another shot of the volcano directly in front of us, just as I'm walking down the road here. It was originally built in 1767. You can also now see that the church square and park here, there's actually the park goes by the same name, Parc de la Merced. And you can see it's become a big area for local vendors selling all kinds of things, fruit, vegetables, clothing, souvenirs. Really get a sense of how busy it is here. This is a Friday, and you can still see how many people are around, both here and over in the park. So just over my shoulder, you can see the church we were just at. And if I turn this way, here is the most photographed and famous place in all of Antigua. What I find really interesting about Antigua is that the city itself has been, overtaken by earthquakes and various things over the years. So a lot of the buildings here, a lot of the older buildings that were damaged, still exist today. Some of them are in different states of repair, but you can really see the beautiful design in some of these buildings. You can actually get the volcano behind it aligned right into the middle of the arch. Well, now that that craziness is over with, that is one of the most touristy places I've seen anywhere here in Guatemala so far, out of my 14 or 15 stops or whatever it's been. So we made it our way over to the Central Park here in Antigua, and it is, as most Central Parks are, very busy. So one of the more famous things in this park is this water fountain here that's in the center of the park. And from what I was reading online, it says that it is actually inspired by the Fountain of Neptune in Italy, I believe in Bologna. This is the Cathedral de San Jose. This was originally built in 1773 and was almost completely destroyed by an earthquake. So this cathedral was afterwards fully rebuilt and now houses a museum. It was inaccessible to the public for many, many years, but after the reconstruction and then the addition of the museum, it is now a central point here in Antigua. This is the traditional public wash station for washing clothes. So there was a aquifer set up here, and each of these were like little wash tubs that were used by the public to wash clothes and such. So this was the wash space that was set up here in the city. I don't know how many there are here. It's probably 30 different wash stations set up. But just a beautiful view here overlooking the park and the hills behind it. So our final stop of the day is here at the Grand Sanctuary of San Francisco. It's the oldest functioning church in Antigua. It was built in the 16th century, the late 1500s. And you can see that the church has had some damage over the years from various earthquakes. You can see standing here in front of the church though, like again, you get the volcanoes in the backdrop and this nice quiet square here in the heart of Antigua. So in its heyday, before the earthquake, this gives you an idea of what the convent would have looked like back in the 1700s, with all the beautiful columns and the fountain in the middle. And this is the remains that exist today as they stand. There are some remnants. If you look up at the ceiling here, for example, some of the original beautiful design on the roof that's here. Just some more of the outside area here around the convent. This would have been sort of an exterior gardens area up there. There's actually some seating and tables and stuff up there. What an amazing spot. I knew this was going to be kind of a neat spot to wrap up the adventures for today, but this place is even better than I expected it to be. This is incredible. Just to see all these ruins here. Some of it's been restored, but I kind of like the parts that are not as restored. It kind of gives it a more authentic feel to it. You could spend days or weeks here checking out all the various historical sites, and you'd never see it all. But I just wanted to kind of have a little walk through town today to kind of show you some of the highlights. And number one on my list should come as no surprise to anybody who's familiar with my channel. In all of my time, in all of my adventures so far, some of my favorite moments have been exploring some of the Mayan lost cities. And Guatemala, in my opinion, has one of the most amazing lost cities in the entire Mayan world, and that is Tikal. Tikal to me was somewhere that I had been hoping to visit for almost 2 decades. And when I got there, I sort of expected it to be very busy, much like Chichen Itza and some of the other very famous sites that I had been to in Mexico. However, Tikal was even better than I hoped for. It is enveloped by the forest. It is spread out in such a way that it never felt very busy, despite the number of people that were there. And the buildings and the structures and the history just comes alive when you go to Tikal in Guatemala. It was easily my number one pick for my entire time in the country. There was no doubt about it that this was probably one of the easiest choices I made for my entire top 10 moments in Guatemala in 2025. Let's have a look at some of the clips from Tikal. All right, so we've just arrived, and I'll kind of give you the lowdown on things up to this point. One of the things I should point out from the very beginning is that if you do come to Tikal and you're coming on a day trip, you will not see everything in one day. It is impossible because the park is just too big. The restored part of the park is 24 square kilometers. And the whole area of Tikal National Park, the protected area, is something like 10 or 20 times that big. This was maintained between 600 and 900 AD. It's almost impossible to fit the whole thing in the frame. Temple 5 here at Tikal. This thing is absolutely massive, in a word. It is one of the first grand temples that was built here. Welcome to the square of the 7 temples. I don't think I need to explain the name of the square of the 7 temples. So here you can see the 7 temples all aligned on one side here. So you've got these 3, 1, 2, 3. You've got this central building here in the middle with just some insane brickwork, which we'll take a closer look at. And then there's 3 more on that side. Also surrounding here are more buildings up there, which I believe were residential. And then another building at the back. Here's another good example of just how much vegetation has grown over these places. So, they get the first 3 stairs exposed, and the rest is still covered up in 1,000 years of compost. I'm coming over here because I wanted to show you how intricate the design is on these buildings. I like how flush and straight this is. Same with this corner. And all the lines, just how perfect they all are. Well, I can certainly see why they call it the Grand Temple, because it is certainly gigantic. So this Grand Temple is just, I don't know how to describe it other than it's insanely huge. I mean, it's 50, 40 meters per side. And It's square, so it's got steps like this on all four sides. So this temple was constructed between 250 BC and 150 AD. So it's a very old building here in Tikal. It comprised a total of 60,000 square meters for this open area here in the square. So yeah, I definitely have to say that I've been really impressed with, despite it being a Sunday and, you know, free admission for locals and just generally like the largest, most famous Mayan park in probably the whole Mayan civilization. It never has yet to feel like it's too crowded. I'm at a loss for words today. I've seen a lot of temples and a lot of ruin sites throughout my adventures. Mexico, Belize, here in Guatemala. And this is certainly the most expansive, I think, of all. One of the things I really like about Tikal so far is that it's not a structured walk. So as long as you have a map, and I am using OpenStreetMaps, as long as you have a map that will show you your way around, you can pretty much go in any direction you want. Well, I thought I was showing it to you all from the bottom, but since we're here, and since there's stairs up to the top, let's go have a look at the Grand Square from the top of Temple number 2. So I've made it up to the top of Temple number 2 here at Tikal, which is known as Temple of the Masks, one of the 2 main temples in the Grand Square. And the hike up to the top was totally worth it for this view. Across from us is temple number 1, known as Temple of the Jaguar. And that is because of the inscription they found at the top of the temple. And there's actually a mask above the top of the building with some very steep stairs down the front. Over here, you have the main Acropolis, which would have been a group of buildings. So it would have been housing, administrative. The King's Palace was part of this building for a while. And then you have, of course, the main open square here. You can just imagine what it must have been like here 1,500 years ago when there was tens of thousands of people here every day. And, you know, despite there being, 40, 50 people down there for the main square at the main set of ruins for the Mayan Empire on a Sunday, the information I read was correct in that the forest here does an amazing job of covering up just how many people here at any one time. It's a pretty amazing place. I hope that you get here to see it, because this video today and all the pictures you see online do not do it justice whatsoever. So there you have it, my top 10 moments from Guatemala in 2025. Again, it is an amazing country. I encourage everyone who wants to go to Central America to please go and spend some time in Guatemala. It is truly an amazing country filled with wonderful people, amazing sights, and a ton of history, and of course, amazing food. So thank you so much as always for watching. I really appreciate it. I love seeing all the comments on the videos. If you're new here, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Still a growing channel, but I do appreciate everybody who does join. And of course, leave a like and a comment down below. Let me know some of the places maybe that you liked in Guatemala that I didn't have on my list. If you'd like to support me, there are a few different ways you can do that. I am fully independent. I'm doing all of this on my own. I have no team behind me. I have no sponsorships or any of that sort of thing. So anything that you want to do to kind of help me out would be awesome. I have some memberships set up here on YouTube. There are 3 different tiers available. The cheapest starting at just $3 Canadian per month, which is about $2 US. If you'd like to support me one time, you can also do that. I have QR codes here on the screen, and in the description below are links to both PayPal and Bitcoin. And lastly, I also have a merchandise store set up both here through YouTube and on my own site at WanderBeard.com, where there are several different designs available of t-shirts, hats, mugs, and those types of things. And currently, as of recording, a very limited edition Christmas selection too. And remember, life is short. Wander. And I'll see you in the next video, where we begin our recap of the top 10 moments from El Salvador in 2025.